I'm a bit salty at the presentation that Trey Wingo had today. And there's an acknowledgement within this that part of him was right. I think that's important to distinguish. Part of him was right when he makes the suggestion that we don't know what Shadeur Sanders is going to be at the next level. We just don't. Like that, Jake, I mean, I don't know anybody that can make a case that they know exactly what any quarterback is going to be coming out of the draft. If you thought Patrick Mahomes was one thing, guess what? He turned out to be something different. If you thought that Josh Allen was going to be one thing, guess what? He turned out to be something different. Like Lamar Jackson, we just don't know. You never know. The part that made me agitated with Trey, and this is not the clip we're going to play. We'll play a different clip coming up in a little bit here, because that speaks to a different level of things. He acknowledges at the end, is more so the idea that he boiled down to whether or not Shadeur Sanders is going to be good based off of whether or not he had the highest completion percentage in NFL or NCAA history. Like, to use that as a bad thing, to use that as an arrow in your quiver to go ahead and basically take a shot towards Shadeur is where I thought he was a little off base. But I also think that, and this is part of the problem within that discussion, Jake, okay? Using that as if that's the only thing that Shadeur did while in college is not only patently false, it is patently misleading towards a conversation. To act as if that's the only thing he did, and it's the only thing we can judge on whether or not he would be successful at the next level, I think is wrong. Part of the Shadeur discussion is the idea that, yes, he did have one of the highest completion percentages in NCAA history. It's also the idea that he had 134 touchdowns with 27 picks in his time in Colorado. It's also the idea that in 24 games, he finished with a 71% completion percentage while throwing for 7,000 yards and 64 touchdowns at Colorado. It's also the idea that he had 7 300-yard games, 8 games with 3+ touchdown passes. Also the idea that he finished 4th in passing yards, 2nd in passing touchdowns in all of college football in the year that he got drafted and taken out, while also being sacked more than any other quarterback in the sport. Like, there are so many layers to this Shadeur Sanders conversation that to boil it down to, well, he was great at this stat, and here's a list of quarterbacks that were awesome at that stat that never worked out in the NFL, is patently misleading to the conversation.
I go back to my quarterback big board where I had him number 1, and I highlighted him the entire offseason as a guy that I thought worked best with the Browns. Is because it was a lot of those things.
No, but I take you to the statistical things because that's where they want to start the conversation. Yeah. That's where they want to mislead and start the conversation as if you have a high completion percentage, well, look at all these other quarterbacks that had a high completion percentage and look how it didn't work out for them. Then they bring up Brandon Whedon, they bring up Colt McCoy, they bring up these other guys. I'm sorry, Colt McCoy was not the second quarterback in college football history to throw for 14,000 plus yards while completing 70% of his passes. Colt McCoy never had a season like Shadeur did at last year at Colorado, where in the red zone, he ended up having 18 touchdowns, 3 picks, and was top 6 in the FBS in every category you could imagine when it came to red zone stats. I'd like to boil it down to something as simple as, well, he was great with completion percentage, and other college quarterbacks have been great, so ergo, this guy must stink. What are we doing? It's so misleading and it makes no sense. You shouldn't punish people for having really strong college numbers, especially when it's not the only thing that he was good at in the college ranks.